If your goal is to get hired as a developer in 2026 and you keep learning the way you are right now, you're making it much harder than it needs to be. I'm not saying that to discourage you, I'm saying it because I've seen this pattern over and over again. There are a few habits that quietly make you unhireable, and by the end of this video, you will know whether you're actually moving toward a developer job or just keeping yourself busy. And I will show you what hiring managers actually care about instead. If you're new here, I'm Pete and I've been coding professionally since 2012, and my job with this channel is simple: to help you learn the right things in the right order without burning years of confusion, hype, or false promises. Alright, let's talk about the first habit. Habit 1. You're consuming more than you're building. You're watching tutorials, you're saving courses, you're bookmarking threads, you're buying programs, and at the end of the week, you haven't actually built anything on your own. And the dangerous part is, it feels productive. You watched 3 hours of content, you learned about a new framework, you saw someone build a project step by step. It feels like progress, but employers don't hire people who watched 2 hours of content. They hire people who actually solved 200 problems. And those two are not the same thing. Right now, with AI everywhere, it's even easier to stay in consumption mode. You watch someone use AI to build an app in 10 minutes. You feel inspired, you watch another one, but you're still not the one building. Learning to code is not a spectator sport. You don't build skill by watching someone else think. You build skill by struggling through your own thinking. If you spend most of your time consuming, you're training yourself to be a consumer and not a developer. If your goal is to get hired, your ratio needs to change. More building, more breaking things, more debugging, less watching. Tutorials, courses, and AI are useful, but only if you support your building and not replace it. Habit 2. You're avoiding the struggle. The second habit is more subtle, and honestly, I've been guilty of this myself. You avoid the struggle. The moment something gets hard, you switch tabs. You ask AI for full solution, you search for a tutorial that already solved it. And I understand why. Struggle is uncomfortable. It makes you feel slow, it makes you feel behind. When I was learning, there was no AI like today, but the same pattern did exist. Whenever I got stuck, I would go to a more experienced developer and ask for the answer. And sometimes that was fine, but many times I asked too quickly, way too quickly. And every time I did that, I robbed myself of something important. I robbed myself of the thinking process. AI is not the problem here. Getting help is not a problem. Outsourcing your thinking too early is the real problem. When you sit with a bug for 30 minutes, when you try different approaches, when you actually feel stuck and keep going anyway, that is when your brain is actually growing. Interviews don't test whether you can get an answer or not. They test how you think when you don't have an answer. If every hard moment is solved by copying, pasting, or prompting, you're not building confidence. You're building dependency on something that will not be there on an interview. There's a difference between using AI as a tool and using AI as a crutch. Use the tools, just don't let them replace the struggle. Habit 3. You're chasing trends instead of mastery. The third habit looks ambitious, but quietly keeps you average. You're chasing trends instead of building mastery. 1 week, it's React. Then it's Next.js. Then it's AI agents. Then it's a new backend framework. Then someone says frontend is dead. Then someone says you must learn something else. So you jump. You're not learning, you're reacting. Shallow knowledge across 5 tools does not beat deep knowledge in 1. Hiring managers can tell very quickly whether you understand fundamentals or whether you just followed a lot of tutorials. Most developer jobs are not looking for someone who knows the newest thing. They're looking for someone who understands the basics deeply. If you're in web development, can you truly explain how the DOM works? Do you understand asynchronous JavaScript? Do you know why something breaks and not just how to fix it? If you're in backend, do you understand how requests flow, databases, state? Trends change every year, but fundamentals compound for decades. If you keep chasing what's new because you're afraid of missing out, you will never go deep enough to become valuable. Be careful here. I'm not saying ignore new tools. I'm saying earn the right to use them. Habit 4, you don't have a structured path. The fourth habit ties everything together. It's not dramatic, it's structural. You don't have a clear, structured path. You're learning, but you don't know what level you're at. You don't know what job ready actually means. And you don't know what you should master before moving on. So you jump between resources, between topics, between technologies, not because you're lazy, but because no one gave you a clear map. And when there's no structure, everything feels equally important. So you try to learn everything, but hiring managers don't care how much content you've seen. They care whether you can solve problems independently within a clear domain. Without structure, you stay busy, but you don't move forward. This is why some people study for 2 years and others get hired in 1. It's rarely intelligence or talent. It's direction. Now look at what all 4 habits had in common. Consuming instead of building. Avoiding struggle. Chasing trends. Drifting without a clear path. Notice how none of these are about intelligence. They are about structure. When you don't have structure, you default to chaos. And chaos feels like effort, but it rarely leads to employment. What actually gets you hired? If you're serious about getting hired, you need 4 things. Strong fundamentals, real projects, independent problem solving, and structured progression. Not random learning, not trend chasing, not passive watching. Structured progression means knowing exactly what you're working toward, what you've already mastered, and what comes next. This is why I always recommend structured learning environments. Because if you try to build this structure completely on your own, it's very easy to drift. And one platform that's built around this exact philosophy is Scrimba, who is kindly sponsoring today's video. What I like about Scrimba is that it's interactive. You're not just watching someone code, you're actually coding inside the lesson. The instructor breaks concepts into small pieces and then hands control over to you to complete the exercise yourself, so you're continuously actively thinking and not just passively consuming. And most importantly, you're not just learning random topics. You're following a guided path with a clear destination, whether that's front-end, back-end, full stack, or even AI engineering. The career paths are structured around real-world skills. They move you from fundamentals to projects in a clear progression. You always know what you're working toward next. That kind of structure reduces confusion, and when confusion drops, consistency increases. And consistency is what gets people hired. You can start completely free and try the platform before committing to anything. And if you decide to upgrade to Pro, my link below gives you an extra 20% off on top of any ongoing discount. But whether you use Scrimba or something else, the important part is this. You need structure. AI is not your competition. Your competition here is shallow learning. You don't need to be ingenious, you don't need to start at 14, and you definitely don't need to know every framework. But you do need to take ownership of your habits. If you stop consuming more than you build, if you stop outsourcing your thinking, if you stop chasing every trend, and if you commit to structured progression, your chances of getting hired increase dramatically. Not because things got easier, but because you became better. If this helped you think more clearly about your learning journey, hit that like button. It helps this video reach more developers who need to hear it. If you're serious about becoming a developer long-term, subscribe. That's what this channel is all about. And if you know someone who's stuck in tutorial mode right now, send this video to them and watch this video next. It will give you a clear direction on what to focus on instead. Thanks for watching, you legends. I'm Pete, and I'll see you on the next one.